In this episode,
how many conversations does the show have to have where someone's talking about, I don't clear, I'm not right, Rick, I'm not right, I see dead people, Rick, you don't have to kill, you have to give people a chance, they can change, but if they don't change, then they're gonna kill you. You don't know if you don't give them a chance, but if they give a chance, and dude, I'm like,
Welcome. You're listening to Paleo Cheese Podcast, episode 46, part 1, The Walking Dead.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jeremiah Bannister.
And I'm Chad Lutzke.
And you're listening or watching Paleo Cheese Podcast, part of the Project Entertainment Network. And Chad, today is part 2 of our series on Friday the 13th.
Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah.
Have you been pumped about this, man?
Dude, I am. But first, I have to point something out real quick.
What?
Can you see this right here on my... Whoops. Right here? What's that remind you of? You might not be old enough.
I don't know what that is.
Well, it's my hair, for one. But what's that remind? Doesn't remind you of anything?
Hold on. I got the video on like real tiny small, man. I see a curly curl. I see like Superman curl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Superman
Have you
curl,
ever... Did you ever used to watch Laverne and Shirley, dude?
Yes.
It looks like I got Laverne's L right here on my jacket.
You know how obscure that is, dude? Imagine if I really pulled that one out of a magic hat. You're like, what's this? I'm like, Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Dude, yes, I am. I'm stoked. I'm stoked because I'm already showing my cards. 3 and 4 are my favorite in the whole series.
Really?
Yeah, they really are. And I told you before, you disagreed with me. I told you that this is the one franchise that I felt got better with each movie. I thought 2 is better than 1, 3 is better than 2, 4 is better than 3. You know, mileage may vary.
I'm holding back, man. I'm holding back. I'm not gonna reveal my cards.
Yeah. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But I have said this before. Yeah. And so yeah, we'll still talk about worst kills, best kills, all that kind of stuff. But real quick shout outs. I finished 2 books since we last spoke, since our last episode rather. I finished Burner by Robert Ford, and it is I don't know, did I mention this book last week?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I think I mentioned it on another podcast. Or it wasn't really a podcast, it was like a live stream thing. I may have mentioned it on there. Yeah, I did. Great book. The timeline in here is genius. The way that Robert wrote this. It's a page turner. It's brutal. It's dark. It involves sex trafficking, and it's not done with like if you've read my book, The Pale White, which is done.
And I have not read that book yet, bro.
Well, if anyone has, it's done. The sex trafficking there is after the fact. It's done tactfully, tastefully, if you will. It's not brutal. This is brutal. I mean, it's not brutal, extreme brutal.
That's not like for children. Is that what you're saying? Basically, it's not for all ages. It's not like reading, no, Sesame Street or something.
Children's book. It is brutal. Yeah. It's not as brutal as it could be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like some extreme thing, but people, I enjoyed it a lot. But I tell you what, dude, the book that I've read a lot of really good books this year.
Yeah.
Particularly in the last couple of months.
Have our listeners been sending them to you on a regular basis?
No.
No. You're not getting them through email, huh?
No. This is a book my wife read and loved and recommended to me years ago. And I meant to read it, never did. And I am so glad because as of right now, it's my read of the year, top read of the year. It's not horror. It's by Sue Monk Kidd. It's called The Secret Life of Bees.
Yeah.
And it is fantastic. Like I said, it's not horror or anything like that. It feels like, and I said this on Twitter, it feels like me and Joe Lansdale got together and wrote a book with a woman's sensibility, and this is what happened. the writing feels very similar to both of ours, in that it's written in first person, which I write a lot in first person. So does Joe. There's some dry humor in it, some wit, and there's a lot of self-reflection from the narrator, which I tend to do a lot of. And it's kind of vignette-y, sort of vignette. Is that?
It might be a word you just made up. It might,
yeah,
yeah.
It's
a Lutzkeism.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with Sasquatches or Yetis, but it's kind of written in vignettes, but there's still there's a thorough timeline, and every little chapter or subchapter ends with kind of like this punch, which I try to do often, and it's better than I could write, but it reminded me a lot of it. I just loved it, man, and I know it's not for everybody, I guess, especially if you don't read anything outside of horror. Maybe a lot of our readers or listeners don't, but I loved it. And like I said, it's my top read of the year so far, and I'm really thankful that I read it, and then finally got around to listening to my wife and checking it out. The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk Kidd.
I've been knee deep, dude, in nonfiction for my work. But I watched a documentary recently, A Mass of the Ages. But I've really been kind of like, while I work and stuff, I'll have it playing, and sometimes, we'll just watch it and everything. But I try to still be relatively productive. But I've been binging Walking Dead.
Yeah, you were talking about that last week too.
I've been binging Walking Dead, and dude, like, okay, it's deep enough into this with enough spin-offs that if somebody complains of a spoiler, and I'll just say it right, spoiler alert, Rick just vanishes, dude. The main guy. He gets picked up in a freaking helicopter.
What season are you on?
I'm on the last season that's available online, or that's available on.
Okay,
Amazon.
I'm not there yet.
Oh, dude, that's okay. Well, how far are you into it?
I think I'm 6 or 7.
Well, then I won't say any more than that. I didn't know.
I'm on the season after they captured Negan.
Well, and here's the thing.
They still have him captured, I think.
It's been years. It was years ago that what I just said happened. And they promoted it big time as hyping it up. So it was talked about on the shows, and it was on TV, and it was in the magazines. I didn't know, because I didn't, I wasn't watching it live or anything. So maybe we can take the spoiler out. We'll beep it out. We'll say blank isn't on the show anymore, and people will be like, "Who's that?" Say, "You guess. You look it up." But I'll say this. All I will say is that at first, with the changes that I beeped out a little bit ago, when those changes happened, I was so angry about it. And that's only one of them. There's like 3. I was so angry about the whole thing that I considered stopping. I thought, how can I continue watching this? I am so glad I did, because in a weird way, it might actually be better. Yeah. Well, and it blew my mind, man. I thought, this is really remarkable. But I will say one thing that really upset me so far, and this is a writing thing too. This comes down to writers, producers, all the backstory stuff with TV. Is an episode. There's an episode that is particularly brutal. Okay, and there's a bad guy in it who does some terrible things to some people that are endearing, and it's really. If
you're talking about what Negan does to Glenn and stuff, everyone already knows that. Everyone
already knows. So what Negan did to Glenn,
and
it was gut wrenching. On the edge of your seat, angry, scared for them when you're invested in this, and the part with Glenn looking at Maggie and saying, "I'll find you," dude. It didn't matter that homeboy looked like a bloodied up elephant man. It didn't matter. It was absolutely endearing, dude. I was bawling. I'm like, dude, this guy loves his wife. Like, he loves her. And it was so devastating. It was. But here's the thing. After that, I noticed that it got it seemed like the show got real different. Like something was different. And I actually wondered if maybe it was a writer's strike. I didn't know the timeline. And I was like, was there a writer's strike or something? Like what? It seems like the path has gone really weird. It's more into like character development and really getting into the various worlds and stuff. And come to find out, man, critics got mad. And critics called it torture porn. They said it was torture porn. They were highly criticized because of that episode, what happened with Glenn. And I don't know if it's the producer or whatever was like, yeah, you know, we're not about that kind of stuff. And they were all freaking out. But I think the writers defended themselves. They're like, look, you know, this is what it is. This is a great episode. And people loved it, dude. People hated it and loved it because, you know, it's just the way it works with drama like that.
Yeah.
And, but they changed and they started softening things. And all of a sudden they were emphasizing the debate over killing or not killing. And I'm just like, ugh. I got so angry about the whole thing. And it was one of those lessons, dude, in life that you look back and you say, I hope that people learn that, you know, I don't want to discount a lot of these critics. That's what we do. That's what we're going to do tonight, right? We're going to talk about a film and we're going to criticize things and talk about it, review it. At the same time, there's like an elite brand of that's like its own bubble with its own views and expectations. And sometimes it is so dramatically disconnected from the people in general. You see that with so many things now where you go and you look at the critics reviews and it's like 100 and the people are like, they're like, this is garbage. This is hot trash. And the critics are like, oh, it's fantastic. That is one of those moments for me. And, but I love the show. I like it even, I may like it even more now.
I have a love-hate relationship with it because I started watching it, you know, years ago, and then I stopped. I think it was at season 2 or 3 when, and spoiler alert if you're not that far, 3, 2, 1, Carl kills his mom.
Yeah.
Doesn't even give her a chance to maybe see if she could live through this.
Yeah, she didn't it just look like maybe she passed out from the pain?
Yeah. That pissed me off.
That's what I thought. I thought that she just passed out from being overwhelmed by the pain, and that was it.
And if there's somebody that needs to go, and this may be very controversial, but if there was somebody that needed to go that would be a hindrance
Carl?
and get everybody dead, it would not be the mom.
Be Carl.
No, it was between the mom and the baby, remember?
Yeah, well, yeah, between the mom and the baby, yeah.
You got a crying baby you're carrying around and everybody has to be quiet? Come on. This baby, what kind of life is this baby going to live when you're just, I mean, think about it, dude. That's like being an 18-year-old kid that's on the verge of being homeless because he's going to lose his apartment, and you go out to the pound and you go rescue a dog and you grab yourself a dog.
But
idiot.
I gotta say though, the show, I don't know who's writing it. There's a lot of Jesus talking there. And a lot of Bible stuff, a lot of Christian stuff, and a lot of things that, just to be honest, it comes across almost, and this will be controversial to say, but I can only imagine other people have noticed, almost pro-life. I mean, I'm dead serious. I talked to Angela about it.
But how is it pro-life when you're, it's like, I mean, I understand that, but when it's like, okay, we're going to have this baby, or are we going to kill the mom?
Let's reframe it.
One of you got to go.
Let's reframe it. Rephrase it. Anti-abortion.
Okay.
Anti-abortion. Because she took the pill, right? Lori took the pill and then spit it out. She felt convicted about it. She spit it. She puked it up. And later on made a choice. If it's between her and the future, it's the future. Right. And now, of course, there's, I mean, dude, how many, we're going to talk about it tonight with Friday the 13th. How many decisions are made in dramas that in real life, what's the term for that? I thought there was like a term for when you evaluate something and you see decisions that people make in dramas that make it really intense and everything. And the tension is building and all that. And you're like, in reality, nobody in the universe would have done what that person just did, right? Like stay in the room with the bad guy and sit there and breathe for a while and hug somebody and just, and there's like a bad guy right there, or run right next to him or something, you know?
Yeah. Or like watching Negan get away with all of that, everything he did. and nobody's moving.
But they were surrounded. How many people surrounded them though? There's
Okay,
like 100
but
guys.
I'm mainly
Somebody would have though.
I'm mainly kind of talking about when he was in that warehouse and he was standing up
Yeah.
above everybody, and there was so many people that hated him at that point,
Yeah.
and nobody was doing anything.
I mean,
And it
there's
was
scenes
just
though,
at-
like yeah,
At that point, it was ridiculous. It was like,
there's
come
scenes
on.
where like Carl or Carol, she rolls up, man, and she's got a gun. She's like, put the weapons down. There's like 5 guys, and they're all like looking at each other, like, okay, and they all put it down. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you got 5 machine guns, dude, on this chick with a machine gun. You ain't putting it down, dude. You're like, we got you surrounded, lady. Like, no offense, but you know,
my other problem was this. I can't remember what season it was. It was either 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But they started. The whole season was like this. They'd leave a tremendous cliffhanger, and they wouldn't resolve that and this was back when it was like playing every week. You know, this was something that was just slapped on Netflix, and you get to see a whole season.
Yeah.
And they would leave you with a tremendous cliffhanger, whether it be, I can't remember the particular season, but they would not resolve that for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it'd be like 3. Yeah, it'd be like 3 shows.
They would dedicate a whole episode to a storyline that had nothing to do with what you're waiting to see, and then the next week would come, and then a whole nother storyline. And they would dedicate full episodes. They went from covering everybody like shows do. You know, most shows, most dramas and stuff like that, they're like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes back over here.
It's like whole episodes, dude.
Huh?
It's like whole episodes dedicated to one person.
But it was just, they stopped doing that for an entire season. And at that point, dude, I was so frustrated because I didn't, it's bad enough if you're watching a subplot for 5 or 10 minutes of characters that you're not really caring about. Books are the same way. You know, you started a new chapter. It's like, oh crap, I want to know what was going on over here. And then you've got, the next 30 chapter or pages are, you don't care. You want to get back to, and that's what Walking Dead was doing. And they were making people wait 3 weeks and dedicating full episodes on
Morgan
subplots. That was,
Morgan, dude, how many conversations does the show have to have where someone's talking about, I don't clear. I'm not right, Rick. I'm not right. I see dead people, Rick. You don't have to kill. You have to give people a chance. They can change. But if they don't change, then they're going to kill you. You don't know if you don't give them a chance. But if they give a chance, and dude, I'm like, and it just, dude, back, forth. And it went on and on and on. And I'm like, and there'd be episodes where they do the backstories, right? Like the one with Morgan and the cheesemaker and stuff. Okay. I mean, I get it. Now we know why he fights with a stick. Okay. Mm-hmm. There was some stuff in there that's like, man, that's a sad story about that. Or wow, that's emotional. But dude, it really doesn't move anything forward. It doesn't add anything to him because he's the same I don't clear guy that he was in that place, that he was before then when he was talking with Rick inside of his house. I mean, so there are certain things, there were certain seasons, dude, that I was getting frustrated. Yeah. But then all of a sudden it comes back, dude, with the fury, and it's got you roped in again.
After Glenn and I can't remember, Abraham, I think his name was.
Abraham,
after they were killed. Yeah, I kind of lost the wind of my sails for the show.
Yeah.
And after Negan was captured, because that's why people were still watching. They wanted to see Negan get his. And then once he was captured, the wind kind of got out of my sails. And I got to be honest, I did hear something, and don't verify this or anything. I did hear something about Rick dying. And then I heard about him leaving the show and that maybe they paved the way for him to maybe come back. But so I don't know which one's true. But
it's all in public.
When I heard it, I was like, so I don't know what happens.
It'll be movies.
Know that actor.
That's all I'll say. There's supposed to be 3
on the show for at least a season. I don't know if he's back. I don't know what happened. So anyway, and I'm sure I'll finish the show because at this point I'm hate watching it, kind of, because
you will for another season and a half probably, but then it comes back.
Well, my thing is when I heard that Rick was left, I didn't care. I was tired of Rick. Quite honestly, dude. he started to really annoy me. When I remember having conversations with a wife, and I was like, can you imagine the show if they ever got rid of Rick? And then another season or so went by, and then it was like, I just got sick of the, Carl, we got to do what we got to do, Carl. And it's like,
yeah, man.
I got tired of Rick, and
yeah.
I got tired of a lot of it because everything, and then he became back and forth kind of, and it was just like, if he died, I'd be like, that's fine, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I do like Daryl.
Yes. And, I didn't like Carol in the beginning, and now she's like one of my favorite.
Yeah.
And I wondered, because I looked her up.
She was a real weak woman at first.
At first, yeah. And she becomes just a powerhouse. And the thing is like, I remember seeing when I looked her up, it was saying, she's one of the most endearing characters in the show's history.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember thinking, I think it was season 1 or season 2. I'm thinking, how? How is she so endearing? And then you learn, you start to see more.
And you know what
develops, and they did a really, really fantastic job.
They did. And you know what? I kind of think that, I think that the writers intend for her character to get hard and hardened and be who she is because of her experience with the zombies and stuff like that. But quite honestly, based on what I've seen in real life, and when women get out of an abusive relationship, how much they thrive.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was in a horrendous relationship with her.
Dude,
her
homeboy was wicked.
And stuff.
Yeah.
And then once he was gone out of the picture, when these women, they're not being held down, they're not being told that they're ugly or they're not good enough and stuff, and all of a sudden, they're experiencing love from other people. So I think that this camaraderie that she had with their other peers and stuff, and the fact that she wasn't under her husband's thumb had a lot more to do with her character development than just fighting zombies.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And so like I like most of the characters. I mean, there's only a handful that I'm kind of just annoyed by, and I'm kind of with you on Rick a little bit. The idea of his character just kept fleshing out a lot of the same things being said and repeated. And I get it. I mean, when you're on that long, there are people who tune in, and they might be tuning into season 7, 8, 9, 10, that you don't know when people are coming into it. Not everybody's going back like a junkie, like me and you, going back to the beginning and saying, we need to see how it starts to, through, and give it a chance. And so people come in, so they'll want to know a little bit. So they have to do a little bit of that background and a little bit of the repetition. I understand it, but it got to be superfluous, right? It just got to be too much. It was redundant at that point. It wasn't sprinkled. It was in your face all the time, and it's frustrating. And all I'll say is, without giving any more details away, the questions that will inevitably arise for people who are unaware of what happens will be answered the claim is answered in 3 movies, which, if I read correctly, are intended for theaters. And so these are like movies, like not just made for TV movies. These are movies in cinema. And so that's where the answers will come. And I'll leave it at that. But that's what I've been doing. So I've been allowing myself.
I'll probably go back to it soon and catch up and everything. Like I said, hate watch it.
Yeah, hate watch it, because, dude, that's what I did. And that's why I made it easy to kind of work a little bit for a while, almost for a full season, just to say I'm working, it's playing in the background. I might miss one conversation or catch and be like, oh, okay, that's important. And in the end, I didn't miss anything. But it catches back up, and it still has its, it kind of does its thing where it's a little slow for some episodes, and then it's back with a gusto. It does that, but that's normal. That's kind of, you have to almost. Not every show is 24, right? Like, not every show. Although the timeline for Walking Dead is real funky. Yeah, there are certain periods, certain seasons where you think it happens over a long period of time, and it just doesn't. It's maybe a week or two. You're thinking, what? Is it really that fast? And so the timeline's kind of funky, but it's a cool show. I've been enjoying watching it. I've been, even the hate watching. I kind of have a sadistic.
It is a gory show.
Masochistic thing with that,
That's
it's gory. Yeah, it's gory.
What kept me coming back. It's definitely the goriest TV show. And that episode that you're talking about, the traumatic one, there's never been anything like that on TV ever.
Never. Yeah, no.
With that kind of impact or with that kind of gore, they don't hold back.
Dude, last thing I'll say about this, there was I think I read, I looked it up because they have spinoffs. They've got a couple spinoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And apparently one of the spinoffs, the premiere of it, was the most watched episode, if I remember correctly. Was it the most watched episode of any cable TV show ever? Like it was massive, dude. It blew my mind. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like it was this huge thing. And if I'm wrong, somebody please correct me. I'll go back and check it here. I don't want to be peddling a bunch of nonsense. But it was a huge historic landmark in cable television history. And so the whole series itself actually is a big landmark too, which I thought was weird because I had not heard of that. I'd only heard of, but then again, I don't watch cable television. Mm-hmm. So I watch shows from cable on Netflix or on Amazon. Yeah, but too. I don't have cable. I cut that cord a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Every person's story has something to teach us. How others view life, how obstacles are overcome, how joy is felt, how fears are faced, how love is expressed. The Matters of Faith podcast explores individual stories of people's lives and how faith plays a part. It may not be your story, but it may help shape yours.
The Matters of Faith podcast with Jay Wilburn is on Project Entertainment Network.